is the Coin Show Podcast.
A podcast about coins and coin collecting from the perspective of both dealers and collectors. Hosted by two guys with a passion for collecting and a combined experience of over 50 years in the coin industry. Here's Matt Dinger and Mike Nottleman on the Coin Show Podcast.
It is episode 219 of the Coin Show Podcast, and we have a special guest with us tonight.
There's an extra fella here.
Yeah. Well, we kind of do that Brady Bunch thing, you know.
He is.
So welcome our special guest tonight, Russ Bega.
Hello.
You have coin?
I have coin.
So tonight we have a massive, and I do mean massive, interview with Dennis Tucker.
Huge.
And he is going to talk to us about the new books that are coming out from Whitman this year. And we are also going to, let's see, what was the other thing we were going to do tonight? We are going to have the club scene. That's why Russ is here. So that's right, club scene.
Okay.
And Russ is here to bring that to us. But first, as always, the news.
Hey, Mike. Who's the news brought to us by this week?
The news is brought to us by exhaustion. The reason that 4 out of 5 have 3 instead of 6. Exhaustion.
Oh, I get it. Kids. Got it.
There you go.
Took me a sec. Oh, boy. That was good. I like that.
So the Royal Mint has unveiled the coronation coinage for King Charles III.
Okay.
It's basically 2 coins. It's a 50p coin and a 5-pound coin.
They are kind of boring on the reverse. There's not much to them.
I mean, they're really more of I think they're more of an obligation.
Yeah, they look like it.
Well, it looks like that's the way they took it.
Right. I mean, the one coin has a kind of sort of a part of a castle and then his monogram with a crown over it. And then the other coin has a close-up of the royal crown. I mean, kind of.
Well, I mean, that is the coronation crown. That's, I think,
Sure.
St. James' crown. And yes, but if you look at it, these coins are actually going to have him wearing a crown, which is not going to be the case on the regular coinage.
So, yeah, okay. Above the ear, good to see.
Yeah. Well, it's, something to take away from it.
It definitely wasn't going below. We know that.
No, it certainly was not. So yes, the coronation range, which is what the 2 coins are called, I still haven't figured out why, includes a 5-pound coin, features a crowned coinage portrait of His Majesty on the obverse, and the St. Edward's crown on the reverse.
St. Edward's crown, okay. All right.
The United States Mint has produced over 3.4 billion coins in the first 3 months of 2023.
That's a lot of coins.
There's a lot of coins. So that is over 1.8 billion cents, nickels, dimes, quarters, and halves.
Yeah, they keep track here on this website, on the story here, of the months going all the way back to March 2022. And it's the March of 23 is the 5th, February of 23 is the 9th, and January is the 4th largest mintage months. So they're definitely cranking them out right now.
Yeah, they're going back almost to the way that they were in early 2022.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't see why they wouldn't be making coinage right now. I'm just scrolling down a little further. It's talking about 6.2 fewer Lincoln cents, 21% more Jefferson nickels, 25.5% more Roosevelt dimes, and 27.2% more quarters.
Now, I would think that the quarter production is up because of the popularity of the series.
The women on quarters, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I can see that would probably be a good reason to why the mintage numbers would go up for those.
Yeah. But, I mean, look, yes, congratulations. You made fewer cents, but you made up for it by making, 1/5 more nickels.
Yeah.
Which also just
Nobody uses either.
Nobody uses those either. You're right.
That's right.
It's crazy.
The United States Mint has released the 2023 silver quarter proof set. So this is the overpriced, absolutely ridiculously insane $73 5-coin set. Yes, there are, I mean, what are they? They're
No, these are $80, buddy. $80.
Yeah, that's absolutely absurd for 5 coins.
yes.
5.
So what? They're $9.99 silver.
That's ridiculous. And
This is like an ounce of silver, basically, is what you're getting for your $80.
And God, yeah, it's absolutely absurd. I mean, it was the same last year. It was also stupidly expensive, and
$73. Last year's set sold 57,000 units out of the box. This year sold 38,000 units out of the box. I think that people are finally, looking at it going,
over it.
Yeah,
I think so.
When I put in my subscription to order them last year, I was like, oh, that would be nice. I'd like to have a set of that. And I just put the subscription in and forgot about it. And then all of a sudden my card, after shipping was charged like $90. And I was like, what the hell did I buy from the Mint for $90? Oh,
yeah.
Orders apparently.
Whoops. That'll do it.
So
yeah.
I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people this year canceled their subscription or never subscribed because it's like, I'm not paying that much for an ounce of silver. That's absurd.
It is absurd.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't know what they're thinking.
And here's the thing. Here's what's funny is, so let's say that, they become popular suddenly and there is a pressure on the market for these coins. What are they going to become worth?
Definitely
certainly not going to become worth,
80.
whatever 80 divided by 5 is.
No, they're never going to be worth that. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We can like them, we can enjoy them, but at the end of the day, they're modern Mint products, and they're made
the series. I just hate
I
the price.
Yeah, no, I adore the series. A lot of people are, oh, that's an ugly quarter, and George Washington looks crazy, and they got all these broads on the back. And no, I think it's a tremendous design. I really, really like Laura Gardner Frazier's original design. I think it looks great, and with a couple exceptions for some of the reverse designs that I think could have been done better, there are some really, really good ones out there.
There's
especially
innovation in a lot of them too.
It's nice to see the Mint do something different because we've been doing the same thing since 1909 at this point, really, and it's just getting boring.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is really still a twist on that same theme because these are still real people.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree.
In WorldCoin news, the Lithuanian €2 coin has been released, and these are kind of cool. I'd kind of like to get some of these. The design is your basic €2 design, but on the reverse is a Lithuanian design, and it basically shows a sunflower, which is the national flower of Ukraine.
Yep.
And it says "Together with Ukraine" in Lithuanian.
Man, they're getting spicy over there in Europe, man. They're really like taking shots at each other.
Well, especially I think with the sunflower imagery. I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning of this whole kerfuffle.
I do.
There was a story that came out that this little grandmother, this little babushka in one of these Ukrainian villages, was approached by a Russian soldier, and she handed him a handful of sunflower seeds, and she said, "Put these in your pocket, so at least when you die on Ukrainian soil, something beautiful will sprout from it."
Oh man.
Yeah, and so that has become, a real image for them.
Granny is brutal.
It really has.
Hey,
so
don't invade my country. I love that.
Yeah, that's very spicy that the Lithuanians would do that on their coinage. I kind of like it.
I I do too.
Well, but think about it. This is another country that was also under the control of Russia. So,
Very
they
true.
don't have a long and treasured history together.
Yeah. Well, it surely shows.
Yes. Don't call me Shirley. Speaking of €2 pieces, Germany is going to take
Whoa.
this is something that really needed celebrating, right? The
They-
latest €2 commemorative coin marks the 1275th anniversary of the birth of Charlemagne.
The Charlemagne they used in this story scared the bejesus out of me jumping over to this guy. Holy cow. Look at him. Wow.
Yeah, that's
He's pretty intense. He's intensely staring at me.
that is definitely a statue that puts you ill at ease.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I mean, 1275. Why suddenly are they celebrating Charlemagne's birthday?
Mike, what comes out in the U.S. in 2026 again? I believe it's a made-up word that you so love to say.
Semi-quincentennial?
Semi-quincentennial, and that is at least 250.
Well, yeah.
This is 1275.
Hey, man. It could have been a slow year at the German Mint. They could.
Okay, so where's my fancy word for it then?
Okay, you know what? I could. Hey Siri.
Yeah, I'll bet you could.
What is the 1275th anniversary called?
You'll need to unlock whose contact info are you?
No, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Siri,
she said I will not.
She's getting sassy with you.
Hey Siri.
Charlemagne.
What is the word for the 1275th anniversary of something? They don't have a word.
Siri, say it.
They don't have a word.
That is the 1275th anniversary. So I'm not sure if Charlemagne's name was Karl der Gross, but that's the name that's on the front of this, and it's 748 to 814, which is the time in which Charlemagne lived. Charles the Great. And Karl. Oh, okay. Karl der Gross. That's Charles the Great. German. Things you learn.
I just like how you went, German.
So goofy Germans. A new Egyptian gods coin series has begun.
Ooh, who do we have
Got us
here?
nice. So this is Pop Joy Mint, a new
that-
series on behalf of Sierra Leone, which means just minting it because they can.
Is that Photoshop? That colorized one looks pretty rough.
Let's see. No, it is a colored. There is a fine silver gold clad colored version.
Yeah, the colored version looks fairly odd.
Well, at least it makes the design look
Fairly odd.
legible. I mean, you can see it.
Well,
I don't
see it on the other one.
necessarily like it, and I really don't like the idea of gold plating a silver coin.
I like the silver one because it actually makes it look like a hieroglyph or something you would see on a tomb wall in Egypt. But man, that colorized one is rough.
Yeah,
The head proportions way off. The arms look like noodles. I mean, it's weird. Am I wrong? Look at it.
no, you're not. You're not
It's
really. I mean,
weird.
but Isis is spreading her wings and showing you her magnificence.
Good for her. She's got lipstick on.
Oh,
Weird. They're not making very many of these though. Fine silver
No.
limit of 2,000.
and 500 for the fine silver gold clad.
Richly layered.
In a cherry wood box. Rare.
And finally, in the news, two young collectors have been awarded PNG 2023 summer seminar scholarships.
Heck yeah.
So they decided this year to go with two rather than one. Both went to college students, which I thought was kind of unusual, but very cool. So Eva Pate is a sophomore. I love saying it that way. She's a sophomore at the University of Texas at San Antonio.
Yeehaw.
And I'm sorry, that was an official yeehaw, and I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh man, what is Mr. Hicks's first name? Because I don't see it in the
Hunter Hicks.
Hunter Hicks, thank you. And he is currently attending
Business major. No, that's Pate. Hicks is majoring in economics and environmental engineering as a freshman at Stanford. You go.
pretty smart fella.
Yeah, you go, dude.
Yeah,
Both
so
seem like an extremely intelligent young numismatist.
and God knows we could use more of those.
Yes, I agree.
So now the question is, are they going to attend the same week?
Don't know. I'm sure that's up to them. They get to pick, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I finally found his name. Thank you. And that's the news.
Mike,
It's just a real quick look at the news. Tonight's news was brought to us, of course, by
Bye.
I think you forgot.
exhaustion.
Exhaustion.
I'm just tired.
Well, you know, that's where your news came from.
Yes, this episode, the news was brought to us by exhaustion. The reason that 4 out of 5 have 3 instead of 6, exhaustion.
You're listening to the Coin Show Podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman.
And before we get to talking to Dennis,
Yeah.
we have our cohort here, my partner in crime, and he is here to share the club scene with us.
With the gun show. He's here with the gun show,
Yeah,
buddy.
the gun show and the club scene are all together in this episode. So
It's two.
I got to play us in. It's the club scene. You ready? Here we go. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, get down.
With your bad self.
and get back up again.
All right. Oh, let me get rid of that. Ooh. All right. I'm sorry. That was fun. That was too much fun.
Russ, did you receive any email at clubs@coinshowradio.com?
I don't have access to that mail there, senor.
Let's start that one over, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta ask somebody on the fly questions? I built it. I must have forgot to send in the password. I'll look again.
Yeah, I don't have that. Let's just ignore that. And let's just.
It'll just be a little cut. Do you want to put it in after Dennis's segment now that we have to cut it?
No, I don't know.
Oh. So here we are on the club scene. And Russ, what do you got for us?
Yeah. So this coming week is a pretty daggone important week for clubs, as you both well know, because we will all three be there. There is the Central States Numismatic Society's 84th anniversary convention taking place in Schaumburg, the 26th through the 30th of 2023, April 23. There is a whole lot going on at this. I've got the Boers map pulled up right now, and I was looking at a couple of things that's going to happen. Kind of especially in regards to clubs. So most of these major shows will always have like a club area, and they're kind of not really all that well traveled, which I think is a shame, because these are people that are volunteering a lot of their time to do a booth, and a lot of these shows have really rigorous requirements if you want to have your club there. Like
Right.
the table has to be staffed at all times.
You
it
have
can
to
be pretty
travel
daunting.
and stay 5 nights, and I mean it's definitely a commitment.
Yeah, so at a show like this, you might have a couple local clubs, but what you're really going to have is a lot of national clubs. And I think this is really one of the best ways to find out if a club is for you, because you actually get to go and talk to real members, because they're the ones that are staffing it. And there are a lot of really good clubs that'll be there. I'll tell you a small little anecdote Mike and I had last year at the ANA. We had a piece that we had never seen before, a piece of exonumia. And, we were kind of sitting there and we're like, we don't even know where to start with this. We had some names, we know a lot of the big exo dealers, but it was like, you know what? Let's go to the TAMS table, the Tokens and Metals Society table, and let's see if they have any ideas. So we took it over there and the guy goes, man, you need to go see X dealer. Like see him. He's going to know exactly. And, we walked over to him, we introduced ourselves, we pulled the piece out and he goes, oh man, I know exactly what this is. And he gave us a lot of good information, which really helped us. So,
it's about the only way we were going to sell it.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we got a lot of good information for it. That, he really helped us out. And it's all because these tables are set up by guys with clubs. My favorite club, which is the Liberty Seated Collectors Club for very obvious reasons.
You're showing favoritism, Russ.
Is going to have a table. And I want to give them a quick shout out because Friday, April 28th at 10 a.m. is the general meeting. It is, let's see.
A lot of these clubs do that. They have their yearly general meetings at these big conventions, and they also have a lot of them put on educational seminars and meetings and different types of things at these shows. So, it's a great hub.
Central States last year, I think it was the first time that they had an area beyond the boards for people to go have meetings and stuff like that.
And this year it's getting even larger. So
correct.
Yes.
So there was an area upstairs.
Last year at the Liberty Seated Collectors Club, one of the general meetings I went to when it was here in Illinois, they did a presentation on the SS Republic, and they actually had Bob Evans, who is, I'm waiting for Mike to...
wonderful maker of sausage.
There you go.
See, I didn't even have to. Down on the farm.
Bob Evans, who led that recovery that recovery effort, actually came. There's probably 30 or 40 of us in this room. He actually came and he talked to us about some really specific coins that they found that really didn't get a lot of press because they're not gold, they're minor coins. But we were all super into it. It was amazing, and he stuck around. We got to ask questions. Really actually kind of hang out. So that's really cool. So these meetings are really important. These tables are really important. And I think if you're not really involved in the numismatic community, I think it's a really great opportunity to dip your toe. And if you are, it's a really great way to actually go and meet the people that, make your clubs work. A lot of these clubs, like Central States, like the Liberty Seated Collectors Club, all these clubs, they put out really great journals. And all of those journals and things are done just by members. You got to remember, we're not a professional class. So you get to meet some really interesting people that really know a whole heck of a lot of things that you might not know and might be interested in.
Now, can you just rattle off some of the clubs that are going to be there? Do you have that up in front of you?
I've been trying to get into some of this stuff, and it's really not great, unfortunately. Their website is kind of buggy on the Central States. But I mean, you're going to have, the Professional Currency Dealers Association, like I said, Liberty Seated Collectors. Let's see.
AMS will be there.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can booth holders.
Yeah. Obviously, the big thing is the NNP Symposium.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of really good. So it looks like, here we go. I've got them up right now. So the Chicago Coin Club will be there. Well, I've got two up. The Chicago Coin Club will be there. The Liberty Seated Collectors Club.
Okay.
Obviously the ANA, the ANS, the Barber Coin Collector Society, Central States, obviously, Illinois Numismatic Association, the National Coin and Bullion Association, and it looks like the last and not least is the Pennsylvania Association of Numismatists.
The Hobo Nickel guys aren't going to be there? What?
I don't see them, but again, this is kind of...
They may not just be listed as a club.
I'm just
kidding. They may not be listed, but I mean, there's a whole club area. So if you're going to Central States, I really, really would suggest that you check it out, because I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff there and a lot of cool people to meet.
More importantly, if you go to Central States, you need to come and meet with us, because we're going to be having a get together on Thursday night.
Yeah. Russ, do you know what HJB's table number is?
I don't.
Give me a sec. I'll find it.
It's going to be in the ancient section, in the world ancient section.
Let me find it. I saw it.
Yeah, I haven't really paid too much attention because so Harlan J. Burke, the company that Mike and I work for, we actually don't have a table for our US stuff this year. So Mike and I will be running around the boars, probably, making trouble like we usually do. You might find us at our ancient table occasionally, to grab something to eat and or grab a bag or something, but we're pretty much going to be running around the boars. I'm going to be trying to buy a lot of Exonumia, so if you got anything cool, track me down.
Yeah, and Russ will be there all week. I will be there Friday.
Nice. So I'm excited. You're excited. Russ is excited.
Absolutely.
Everybody that's going is excited. Even if you're not going, be excited because it's a great time. We're going to make a bunch of content there. I have a feeling you're going to be seeing the old gun show a little more in our content that we make. That might be your new nickname, by the way, Russ.
I've got some stuff lined up with some pretty prominent dealers to sit down and talk with. So hopefully I'll have some good stuff to report back.
And I know that we are going to have some of our friends there. I talked to Jack Young today. We're getting together with Jack. I talked to several other people whose videos you may have seen all of us in. T the Silver Sacker, he's going to be there. So we're going to be just running and gunning and hanging out with all of our buddies. And you are welcome to come and do that as well. So I'm excited.
You should stop by our table. Stop by, grab Matt, grab Russ, grab me. It's like we're there to have fun. We're there to be there with you.
Yep.
And anything that you guys think would be fun to do. Why not? Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. Well, Russ, that's awesome. Is there any other club-related stuff going on right now?
Not really.
Okay.
This is kind of really the biggest thing going on in clubs at the moment.
It is. It's the most immediate.
Yeah, it's the most immediate thing. Obviously, we do have summer seminar coming up, like we talked about, which I think is the most club related thing possible.
Right.
So seminar will be coming up, and then obviously later in the summer we'll have World's Fair Money in Pittsburgh, which will be another great opportunity for us all to get together.
Yep.
And there will be a lot more club things. Right now, clubs are a little quiet. There are certain clubs that only publish so often. So like the Liberty Seated Collectors Club will be publishing until the summer. But it's a little quiet, but things are going to pick up.
And if you have something that you want us to promote, you can send it to us. Mike at coinshowradio.com, Matt at coinshowradio.com, or clubs
at
coinshowradio.com.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have anything you want to plug, anything, even if it's local shows.
Heck yeah.
We had a really good local show here recently that Mike actually got to come and play with for a little bit. And local shows are great. I would love to help promote them if they're within reasonable driving distance. And I haven't had too many adult beverages that night before. I would love to come to your show too.
Heck yeah. Look at that. Russ is ready to get on the road.
He is.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it. Well, thank you, Russ, so much. You rock.
Yeah,
pleasure.
We really appreciate you coming on and helping us out.
And we're going to play you out.
Bye.
You're listening to the Coin Show Podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman.
And we are joined by a friend, more than a friend, one of our very dearest friends of the Coin Show. This was one of the very first.
Right.
Welcome to us, the publisher, Whitman, Hobby Publishing, All Publishing, WhitmanPublishing.com, our very own Dennis Tucker.
Thank you very much. Good to be here as always.
Heck yeah. Great to have you.
It's always good to have you because you come on and it's like, you always tell us what's going on in the world of books. And look, what is coin collecting without books? That is a marriage made in heaven. So,
and then, what's actually really funny is Mike made a very good point last episode about you guys. He said that you guys are by far the #1 content creators on any media in the world of numismatics. And I thought that was a really interesting and cool point.
Well, the U.S. Mint does a surprising amount of publishing online, but yeah, I think in terms of books, Whitman is right up there for sure.
Heck yeah!
Did you not know that about the U.S. Mint? They create a lot of new content through their Office of Corporate Communications, and they have videos online. Check out usmint.gov.
And
I think you'll be
and
impressed.
one way to think about that, Matt, is the fact that you and I don't see it means that they're going to places that they normally have it. They're
Okay.
really trying to reach out and to put tentacles out into places.
Well, I'm
that are-
sure they don't want coin dealers watching their content. I'm sure they would rather have their people that they're trying to sell product to, enjoying the
It
content.
all
that
points
they
to the
create.
the product pages, of course.
Of course. See, I told you.
And all of what you talk about tonight can be found on Whitman.com, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yep, we have our full catalog at Whitman.com.
So I know that you've got a big year this year coming.
Yes.
What do you got going on? What's coming out in books for numismatics?
Let me just run down a few titles and books that we've got coming out, and maybe you guys can tell me what sounds interesting, and we can dip a toe in wherever you want to. One book I definitely want to talk about is the latest in the Bowers series, which is Joshua McMorrow Hernandez's Guidebook of American Silver Eagles. It actually came out in December, so it's had a few months of sales. It's doing really well, of course. Interestingly, it's selling as well as, maybe even a little bit better than, Dave Bowers' Guidebook of Morgan Silver Dollars.
What?
So, which is not, I'm not surprised. I knew that it would be popular because, how many of these coins have been sold? Like 600 million or so since 1986.
Wow.
See, dealers don't understand that these coins really are popular. They're popular. It's all there is
Yeah.
to it. So this is no surprise to me. What number in the series is this?
This is number 27.
Wow.
So we've got more than 24 books in the Bowers series covering everything from half cents to double eagles, Civil War tokens, hard times tokens, the history of the mint itself.
It's like the
We have
encyclopedia.
Frank Coletti's Guidebook of the Guidebook, which covers the Red Book.
Yep.
It's like the Encyclopedia
Type
Britannica
collecting.
for numismatics. It really is.
Yeah.
You've got one on
It's,
type collecting. You've got them on gold. You've got them.
Yep.
It's like, it is a fabulous series.
It's been very popular. I think the fact that we have 27 volumes tells you something. Some of those volumes are in their 6th or 7th edition, so it's they're barn burners.
And the Morgan, I want to say the 6th edition probably outsold all the other 5 combined.
Well, the 7th edition is actually out now, but yes, each edition is as popular as the ones before. And you're probably thinking about the 2021 coins. Is that what you're?
No, I was thinking in terms of where you started publishing the information about finding the hubs in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Bit. So it was all the
Yes.
64 silver dollar stuff that was in the 6th edition.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that I thought sold the book by itself.
Oh, that was big news. Yeah. And it's interesting. Some people might think that numismatics is a static or dead science, but discoveries like that show you that it's very much a living science and art. Discoveries are always being made, research is always ongoing, and you never know when something's going to jump out and just surprise everybody. Nobody knew about those 1964 tools, the hubs and dies and things for the Morgan dollars. So that was very exciting.
That was one of the coolest stories of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, but of course, the 2021 100th anniversary piece and Morgan dollars were big as well. So that's those are covered in the 7th edition, and we'll have 2023 coins in those 2 series. So hopefully those will be ongoing.
Heck
Hopefully they'll actually do what they expect to this year, and because they're already promising 2 finishes for them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I have. I was in Philadelphia a few weeks ago, and this might be speaking out of school a little bit, so I shouldn't say too much, but
Oh, we got a scoop.
I
It's
witnessed-
a scoop. I feel a scoop.
it's a scoop. Well, I have to be careful because I am what they call an SGE, or a special government employee, as a member of the CCAC. So we are privy to information that's not public yet.
Sure.
And we have to be careful when we can't reveal things until they're public.
Don't worry, Dennis. Nobody listens to this anyway.
This is part of a permanent numismatic record now. But anyway, so I was in Philadelphia, and I had the honor and the opportunity to see it was the peace dollars in production. So they're coming off the presses, and I actually held in my hand a handful of rejects, and so I had a handful of these beautiful 2023 peace dollars. And when I say reject, they had like the tiniest little scuff mark, or something that most people would not notice, but it was enough for the quality control people to say, we're not going to send that out. So, but beautiful coins, just amazing.
So those are going to be in the Morgan book, or are they going to be in the Eagle book?
They're in the 7th edition of the Morgan Silver Dollars by Dave Bowers. Yep. But so Josh's book is one that it technically came out last year, but I consider it a 2023 book because really sales have taken off starting in January. We have updates on the Guidebook of Lincoln Cents. The Guidebook of Barber Silver Coins is now in its 3rd edition. Lincoln Cents is in its 4th edition. Guidebook of Liberty Seeded Silver Coins, now in its 2nd edition. And Rick Tomaska's Guidebook of Franklin and Kennedy half dollars will be coming out in its 5th edition. And that has some interesting updates on 1964 specimen coins and other interesting coins in those series.
Cool.
We have the Red Book, the latest Red Book, the latest Blue Book are coming out, of course. Mega Red 9th edition. Can you believe we've done 9 editions of Mega Red?
Let me see.
Count
that's
them.
like 120 pounds.
I've only got 7, so no. I to my knowledge, you only had 8, but yes. So the next one will cover which?
The 9th edition covers quarter eagles. Ooh. So it's everything from the 1700s to the end of the series, and just a huge amount of information from Dave Bowers, Mark Borkart, and other specialists who have weighed in. We have images from the Harry Bass Foundation.
Now this is already at press, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it'll be out within a few weeks. You'll be able to get your hands on that. I'll see if I can find a copy and send you a review copy. You have to be nice about it, though. You have to write a nice review.
Yeah, that's right. You have to talk about it on the show, Mike, at least.
That's right. No, I know that you guys are 2 of the most passionate and enthusiastic book readers, I think, in numismatics.
That one. I slog it out in the trenches every day.
He's the Nick. So do I.
Well, that's true. You do now. You do now too.
But he's the giver of nicknames in our group chat with all of our producers and stuff. And my nickname is Numismatic Book Hoarder.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes. That's what
that sounds like a mental. That sounds like a problem.
A disorder.
Yes, you have a disorder.
If it's a disorder, I really don't want the cure.
That's right.
That's good. I like that attitude. And actually, Matt, I was kind of generously including you in that because you've told me many times that you are not the book guy. But
it's okay. I've learned not to hide from it anymore. I just embrace it.
I know that you've got a lot of books in your shop that you use for reference when stuff comes in. So, yes. We try to make our books useful for dealers as well as collectors. And but yeah, Mike, I think you're our biggest fan, which is wonderful.
That's perfect. That's right.
I'm your number 1 fan. Kidnap you, take you out to the lake house. Okay, so
break his legs.
Oh, so another good book that we've got coming out this year is the Catalog of Modern World Coins, the 15th edition. So this is the original was by R.S. Yeoman. It's kind of popularly known as the Brown Book because, like the Red Book, it's always had kind of a brown cover, and it covers world coins by country, type by type, from 1850 to 1964.
Okay, I was going to say there has to be some.
It's going to be a large book.
Because I mean that's still just how thick is it?
Oh gosh, it's I forget the page count, but it's probably something like 600 or 700 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's not a telephone book. It's by type, so it doesn't.
Okay.
What it does is it gives you type values and then values for exceptional coins within the type. So rarities, key dates, that type of thing.
That is a perfect coin for most dealers, or perfect book for most dealers, because that's
Oh,
exactly what they're looking for when they take in foreign coins that they really know very little about.
That's right. And
Yeah,
and
it's
you-
got bullion charts. It's got all the specs on like how much gold or silver is in precious metal coins. Of course, it ends at 1964, so we're talking about olden time coins that were silver and gold in circulation.
You would be surprised how many.
Art Friedberg. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you would be surprised how many coin dealers I know that need that book.
Mhm.
I know
Yeah,
a lot of guys that just don't mess with it, don't care to mess with it, and I think a book like that would be really helpful for a lot of guys.
Collectors like it. A lot of collectors collect one from every country, they call it.
Right.
And so this is a good way to sit down and figure out what you need. If you want to collect one coin from every country or one coin type from a particular country. When I was a kid, I got interested early on in British coins because my father's family is from England, and that was something that drew me into world coins. And Ken Brissett's Guidebook of English Coins was one of the first coin books, other than the Red Book, that I read from cover to cover, as we do when we're young and enthusiastic. So actually, this might be speaking out of school as well, but we're working on the 10th edition of that book. So that'll probably come out next year. So that's kind of a sneak peek.
Ooh,
But
another scoop. We're scooping.
Another
We're
exclusive.
scooping, guys.
you're scooping all over the place here.
That's beautiful. All the book scoops.
That's right. Another book that I think is really interesting and has a numismatic connection is the Memoirs of Kenneth W. Rundell, and the title is Safeguarding History. And his name might not be familiar in a numismatic context.
We're both kind of
I'm
puzzling for that one. Okay.
Well, a lot of people know Ken more as a dealer in antiquities, in particular manuscripts and rare autographs and that type of thing. He debunked the Hitler Diaries hoax back in the 1980s. He debunked the Jack the Ripper diary hoax. He solved the Mormon murders, the White Salamander letter.
okay.
He's got quite an experience throughout his life in books and rare manuscripts. He started the International Museum of World War II outside of Boston, which the Imperial War Museum calls one of the finest, possibly the finest collection of World War II artifacts, bar none. And he's known for having created Bill Gates' personal library. And he has a fascinating chapter about that experience.
Wow.
But in numismatics, Ken and Dave Bowers are actually contemporaries. They were friends, and Ken is probably, I think about maybe 5 years younger than Dave. And they were friends back when they were in their teens. Ken and Dave were both founders of the Rittenhouse Society. The first 3 chapters of his book deal with numismatics because he was involved back in the 1950s and early 1960s. He had some crazy adventures. I mean, he was a young teenager going off to the Caribbean to look for rare coins and traveling to Europe and dealing with all of the old time dealers and collectors back then.
That's pretty cool.
Dave Bowers. I'm sorry, Matt.
I was just saying that sounds really cool.
Oh yeah, he's got a million stories. That his memoirs could have been 900 pages if we been able to figure out a way to do that, but it's 328, I think, as it stands. But it just fun stories about the old days in coin collecting, colonial coins. He has a nice collection of Indian peace medals, and the way Ken kind of veered off into autographs and manuscripts was Dave Bowers traded him a collection of presidential autographs for Ken's, I think it may have been Ken's collection of either British or colonial coins at the time. And they did the swap. And Ken stayed interested in coins and numismatics, but he really just jumped feet first into this other world, starting in the 1960s.
That's super cool to hear stories about how those guys get from point A to point B.
Yeah, because they have a journey too. They didn't just wake up,
exactly
as senior, editor emeritus of the Red Book.
Right.
Is getting there.
Yeah, it's quite a story. I mean, he talks quite frankly about challenges that he had, the death of his father, the death of his son when his son was young, challenges breaking into different fields, the kind of closed circle that some professions had, especially in England, where if you're an outsider, you're not going to be able to break your way in unless you have the audacity to try it. And of course, being an American and being very smart and talented, he did some amazing things. So, but his work in World War II is remarkable as well. And he's been a big supporter of the preservation of the history of World War II. Not just the military history, but the home front history, and telling the stories of World War II from everyday Americans' viewpoint, not just generals and politicians and battles and things. I had the honor of going up and seeing his museum and getting a personal tour along with Dave Bowers, probably more than 10 years ago, and I was just blown away. He has documents that are unique, and I remember seeing Churchill's one of his painting suits that he would put on while he was painting. It's got little paint stains on it, and but anyway,
that's cool.
Fascinating life, and I think that there will be a lot for coin collectors to enjoy in his book. That'll be coming out in September, October. But I might be able to get an advanced copy and bring it to the ANA in August. If I do that, I'll make sure that you guys get a look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be great. That'd be really cool to see, because we will definitely, at least one of us will be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because it's in Pittsburgh this year. Yeah. But I'm with the new gig, I'm finding traveling a little bit more. It's a little bit more in the mix.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, Mike. So, Mike, you will not be there, or you will be?
I will not be in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, because somebody's got to run the counter at the shop.
He's lobbying, though. Gotcha. He's lobbying hard.
Yes, I've been lobbying and lobbing things. So,
Well, I'll miss you. I mean, it's always fun to hang out and chat with you. And Matt, you'll be too busy selling stuff to really visit. But
I'm always down for a visit now. Come on.
That sounds good. So, Matt, do you do much with cherry picking? We've got the latest cherry pickers guide is coming out.
I do. I caught myself doing some of it today, actually, while sorting coins. I was checking for certain varieties. So yeah, definitely. Okay. I know that's been in the works for a while, so I'm glad that that finally is about to. When does that come out?
8?
And thank you for going easy on me with that comment. But it's been a while.
I'm just.
Is this number 8?
Being realistic.
This is the 6th edition, Volume 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So we published the 6th edition, Volume 1, which was half cents up to half dimes, so half cents through 5 cent nickels. years ago, and so, but and I know that there's been delay after delay with this book, so that I do get letters and emails and phone calls from dealers and collectors, and but the amount of work that's gone into it. Larry Briggs is our volume editor, and if you know Larry, you know that it's going to be a top-notch product. I think this will be the best cherry pickers that we've ever published.
Yes.
In terms of the just the accuracy, the kind of the finger on the pulse of the hobby aspect. He knows what's selling, he knows what's popular, what collectors are interested in, and of course, when it comes to Liberty Seated, Larry's your guy.
Yes.
And there's a lot of Liberty Seated in this volume. So
I'm gonna have to
it covers half dimes, dimes, 20-cent pieces, and quarter dollars. So it's not the entire series of U.S. coinage, but everything else will be covered in volume 3, which will come out next year. So that would be half dollars through gold, bullion, commemoratives, and Philippine die varieties as well next year.
I gotta add
the section
this
on
one.
dollars by itself is going to be huge because.
Yes, yeah.
I've definitely got to add this one to my library for sure.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a coin dealer, you'll need to have a copy of this book on your shelf, because if you don't know this stuff, you know that your customers are going to be cherry picking you.
Right.
So it pays off to have a copy handy. The volume 2 covers a lot of the popular coin series, like modern series, like Mercury dimes, Roosevelt dimes. Washington quarters is the biggest section. There's, I think, 163 or so different Washington quarter varieties. We've got about 80 new varieties that have been added to the book within those different series. Liberty Seated, Barber coins. So there's a lot that collectors will have fun with in this new volume.
Heck yeah.
I think that the cherry pickers themselves illustrate two fundamental rules of this business. One of which is the person, whoever is on whichever side of the counter has the person with more knowledge on it, usually wins.
Yeah.
More importantly, and this is a lesson for life itself, it is, you cannot know everything. Nobody knows everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not important to know the answer. It's important to know where to find the answer.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's where your books are your friends.
Yep.
That's an excellent point. And something that JT Stanton, rest in peace, and Bill Fiva have always emphasized is using courtesy and respect when you're a cherry picker.
Goes a long way.
And Mike, I know you jokingly referred to it as winning, like whoever has the most knowledge wins, but it can be a win-win situation if you build a good relationship with a dealer, and as a collector, and on the collector side, just be honest with a dealer. If you are going into cherry pick and they ask you, say, yeah. I mean, you don't have to go into detail and say what you're looking for, but be courteous.
For varieties.
Spend all their time, taking up all of their counter space. But according to Bill, dealers respect collectors who have that knowledge and will sometimes even hang on to die varieties for their good customers.
I have a couple of customers that when I sell them something, I'm like, man, I missed something. What did I miss? Every single time I feel like that. So, it just is what it is. You can't catch them all. They're like Pokemon. But
yeah, right. So Matt, like, are there certain guys that walk in and you're like, I'm about to be cherry picked. I don't know what they're going to find, but
both dealers and collectors. Yes, I know several dealers that I'm like, oh man, he bought something. I screwed up. What did I miss? And a couple of collectors are saying, well, and it's okay because there's just not enough hours in the day for me to deal with that. So
you can't make the last dime on everything,
right.
right? Somebody else is going to make some of it.
Got to keep it coming back.
Right.
One of the things that I notice gets picked a lot is GSA Morgans.
Yeah.
So GSAs get picked all the time for VAMs, and most of the dealers really don't care too much. It's like if these guys want to put all their time into doing it, God bless them. It's like they're doing a service to the hobby, and that's great. But we don't have time to study it, and we just don't have time to find it all.
There's like 3
We've got more American Silver Eagles to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, the premiums on them just went up again today.
Yep. I sold them all. I punched out today. I pulled the ejector seat. I pulled it. I'm done.
Well, Matt, your homework will be to buy and read thoroughly the newest Cherry Picker's Guide. So
Heck
that'll
yes, I'm in. And you know what? My son, who's 13, has been really getting into coins lately. So it might be that I will get a copy that will get stolen from me by my son. So that's okay too. I'm not mad about that.
That's good. Yeah, Bill Fiva always talks about cherry picking as being a great avenue for young collectors because it's a way for them to make money. If you want to spend the time to learn and actually get out there and cherry pick, you can gather some coin.
I always equate it to him as a treasure hunt. You're hunting for treasure.
But
exactly.
That's the fact that when you start looking for varieties, the most important thing is knowing the process of how it's manufactured.
Yep.
And so there is an education in it. And, the kids that start out that way will often know more than, some of the adult collectors.
That's how I started, buddy. The very first coin book I bought was the very first edition of the Cherry Picker's Guide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the one.
Oh, that's cool. So that was like 1989, 1990.
Yeah, right around that time period was when I really
after
started
I got
getting
married.
heavy into it. So, yeah, buddy.
Even before the Red Book.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, isn't it?
Wow.
It's weird, but yeah, for some reason, something drew me.
I was a Red Book kid, but I will be honest with you, Dennis. There wasn't a whole lot in that time.
Oh well, you know what?
One of my favorite stories is talking about. My dad bought us a Whitman folder, a blue Whitman folder for Roosevelt dimes, and a roll of Roosevelt dimes. And this was 1967, and there were no silver in there.
Yeah, already picked out.
So
that
was 3.
Your dad had them.
The 66, the 67. And once you found those 3, you're done.
So I had a Red Book. I did not read it cover to cover, but I broke the spine of the Cherry Picker's Guide. So
interesting. So that's how you knew that you're going to be a dealer, right?
It was just
out with the Cherry Picker's Guide.
Just part of it, part of the progression, and
hey, and thank God you guys figured out about spiral binding, because I think that's possibly the greatest thing for the Red Book.
I had pages falling out. I had to stick them back in.
I mean,
that
thing flat.
That's been very popular. We have there's a new publishing, I guess technology might not be the right word, but what's called a lay flat binding. And that's how we'll be publishing this new Cherry Picker's Guide. It is, I guess it's kind of akin to an old-fashioned telephone book or yellow pages, where you can open it up and it stays flat.
So it's basically made to lay on the spine.
I'm sorry?
So in essence, it's made to lay on the spine.
Yeah. It's like a combination of the binding and the paper that's used. So it'll, instead of snapping closed when you try to lay it on the table, it'll actually stay open. So
nice.
we are hoping that this becomes a very useful and popular format. It will not be the spiral bound that you're used to.
Ooh.
No, but the spiral bound has its shortcomings as well, because pages get torn out of it, and
right.
So regular binding seems to be what people prefer, particularly for long term. So
yeah, but
I have taken up a new hobby, Dennis. I go to the half-price bookstores around here, and I try to rescue every single numismatic book that they have. And last week, I managed to find a copy of the Bowers book on gold.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you can find them, and you can find them out there, and just pick them up. It's like save them from people that are going to get rid of them.
Yeah. Purgatory.
Yeah.
Book purgatory.
So the recycling bin. Yeah. No,
well,
good for you.
I mean, I think about it, ending up at the public library, and it's like, so look, my books, right? I've got a bigger library than the Chicago Public Library does. But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, when I go with this, there is going to be a gift of, an entire library of books to someplace that will, be useful to numismatics. So
Good.
yeah, well, I mean,
Yep.
that's the only thing you should do with it.
Mitch
Pass
Ernst.
on knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. Mitch Ernst, who you probably know from Central States Numismatic Society, has talked about the process of gifting or donating numismatic books to your public library, your local library. And he actually discourages it because they will often end up in the Friends of the Library book sale for $1, which is fine. That's a venue for old books. But you should really look into that process if you think that they're going to end up on a bookshelf. That a lot of that has to go through some regional office or central office where those decisions are made.
Yeah, because libraries are constantly paring down their inventory. That's something that people don't realize. It's not like they are these enormous repositories of everything literary. That's really not what they do.
Yeah. My local library in Roswell, Georgia has, I think, maybe 2 copies of the Red Book, but I think it's just one, and it's from like 2015. But it's it's good to see it there, and maybe that'll be a first step for a kid or someone who's interested in coins. And I get a kick out of it because I can show it to my daughter because we go to the library almost every week, and I was like, "Who published that?" And she said, "Daddy."
Of course. But she also does that with every book, right?
Yeah, right. No. I try
So
I
she
try not to
noticed the little
force.
globe on it, and then she says, "Daddy."
Yeah, right. She recognizes the Whitman logo. Yeah, but no, I'm trying not to force numismatics on her. I present it as something arcane and only for grown-ups, so that way it's like a forbidden treat, and I'll get her
Reverse
interested that way.
psychology on that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, Dennis, it's like we could and probably would go on all night. I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there any other highlights that you have coming out at the end of this year?
I think I've touched the highlights.
What's your favorite one?
We
What's your favorite book coming out in the next?
Like asking a mom with
I
8
know,
kids what her favorite
but I want.
I mean,
on the spot.
What's the one you've
Yeah,
enjoyed working on the most, or working with the most?
I have to say that there's a few, if I can just pare them down. Ken Rendell's memoirs are important because of his personal connections to Dave Bowers. I've been Dave's publisher for almost 20 years, and we're very close. So I've gotten to know Ken as well through that connection. So publishing his memoirs has been a wonderful experience, and I am hoping that this might actually be a New York Times bestseller, dare I say it. I think it's got broad appeal, and so we'll have tens of thousands of people reading about his experience in coins and hopefully getting excited about that.
Heck yeah.
The Cherry Picker's Guide, of course, because there's so much pent-up demand, and people have been waiting for it for so long, and the fact that it's going to be the best ever, thanks to Larry Briggs and Bill Fiva, and James Wiles and John Frost and John Potts and many other, Jose Gallego, lots of different experts and specialists. That is very exciting, and we'll come out with that in August at the ANA. Modern World Coins. I've been a world coin collector since I was a kid, so that's another book that's near and dear to my heart. Art Friedberg is its editor, so he's a wonderful author to work with, and the book was started by R.S. Yeoman, so there's a lot of Whitman history there. So I feel a very dear connection to that book as well. I love the Bauer series books, so I'm not slighting them at all. They're wonderful they put beans on the table, and they're very popular still.
I feel like our favorite list is just a list going back through the ones that we already talked about. So I think that you love them all equally, just like Mike said.
So here, let me ask you more of
I love them all.
an esoteric question about it. So we have a buyer bid sale, at Burke, and it's one of those things where setting it up is a lot of activity and getting things put together, and then finally the day that it goes live, it's almost like giving birth, right? are there any books that you've published in the last year that the process really felt like that? Like you really, really had to work and work and work. And then finally, you get there and you're like, here it is. Enjoy.
Oh, every edition of the Red Book is like that. And in particular, every new edition of Mega Red is like that, because that is a huge undertaking.
That's what
it's more than 1,500 pages, a million moving parts, and it's just a Herculean effort. And once it's out, we we get to relax for 24 hours, and then it's back onto the Blue Book, and everything else. But yeah, I think it's probably a similar experience.
It sounds like a football coach.
It does.
It would take 24 hours to enjoy this win, then we're going to move on to the next one.
Back in the gym, boys.
I would have it no other way. It's that's part of the fun. Yeah, we're always working. I mean, if we ever had any downtime, I would feel like something's wrong, and something's wrong with the hobby. But book sales are up. The Red Book sells well. It sells in the hundreds of thousands every year.
Love it.
So I think that's a good measure of how strong the hobby is.
I like that. I like
Well,
that.
you've been very generous with your time.
Yes.
We really appreciate you coming by. We would love it if you would come back sometime again soon, anytime you want, actually.
Yeah.
We'd
Open
like to
invitation.
talk to you about CCAC business every once in a while. But it's like anytime you have a book to hawk, we are here for you, my friend.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, and it's always fun to talk with you guys. I'll be doing a couple presentations at the ANA in August, so you might catch me there, or if it's recorded. One will be on the changing perception of colonial coins from 1946 to date. So it kind of uses the Red Book, how the Red Book looked at colonial coins over these generations and decades, which is kind of a measure of collector perceptions and kind of changing understanding within the hobby. And then the other one will be on cherry picking and what I see as kind of the state of cherry picking in 2023 and beyond. So
Love it.
Fun stuff.
I'm excited for that book. I'm sorry. I had to go back to it again.
Good. That's good to hear.
Well, Dennis Tucker, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being our guest.
My pleasure.
Care. And we'll see you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
And so that brings us to the end of another fine episode. Episode 219.
That was a good one.
That was okay. It was action packed.
It was
so
okay.
Interestingly, while you're listening to this, we are at the Central States Numismatic Show and the Newman Numismatic Symposium.
Yep.
Hopefully you were able to catch more than one of these, because of course the podcast goes on and is living on YouTube. So thank you to our staff, our producers, for helping us put this all together.
Yep.
Thank you to Russ for joining us and giving us our club scene.
And the
Thank
gun
you to
show.
Russ Tucker and all of the folks at Whitman for their help and their encouragement. And of course, being the greatest numismatic content creator on the planet.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. But thank you to all of you who listened. Thanks for joining us. And we will talk to you on episode 219 of the Coin Show podcast. Go ahead, man.
And now for the You've been listening to the Coin Show podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman. Tune in next time when the boys bring you another exciting episode. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, on our website at www.coinshowradio.com. You can also join our private Facebook group where everyone sees every post. Just search Facebook for Friends of the Coin Show and ask to join. If you'd like more, you can become a subscriber on Facebook or join our Patreon at www.patreon.com/thecoinshow. If you sign up at the $5 month level or higher, you'll have access to exclusive content on patreon.com on the off weeks, including the Not the Coin Show podcasts. Thanks for listening to the longest running coin podcast in the world of numismatics.
This has been the one and only, the original. This has been the Coin Show Podcast.